Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Tonight, we'll take a closer look at the state of the nation as Nigeria grapples with deepening political and security challenges. The All Progressives Congress, APC, continues to face mounting difficulties with its declining popularity as discussions around possible coalitions continue to gain momentum. There is growing concern over lopsided appointments by the Tinubu administration, as well as marginalization of some regions of the country that have fueled dissatisfaction within key regions, and questions are being raised about the effectiveness of the government's fight against insecurity. As the country navigates these turbulent waters, we examine the internal divisions and external pressures that are shaping Nigeria's political landscape. Joining me tonight to help us unpack and navigate some of these issues is the National Publicity Director of the APC at the national headquarters in Abuja, Bala Ibrahim. Will be joining the conversation virtually from Mina, the Niger State capital, where we get to discuss a variety of issues, key among them the latest visitations by the likes of Atiku and a host of his political allies to former President Muhammadu Buhari in Kaduna, which has caused some rumblings within the political circle. That visitation was followed by another visit from the national chairman of the APC, Professor Ganduje, visited former President Muhammadu Buhari just hours after the rumored coalition left the president's residence in Kaduna. Well, they say it had nothing to do with politics. This was just a Salah facilitation as well as homage and the likes. However, when the national chairman of the APC joined the former president for those courtesy call, he did re-echo the fact that they are well aware of the coalition, but it would not amount to anything. This is just coming days after the Progressive Governors Forum paid a visit to the former president in Kaduna. Now, the big question is, why is former President Muhammadu Buhari becoming a hugely sought-after political figure? We obviously know of his political currency, but how much of it does he have to spend ahead of the 2027 election? And of course, there's talks about the CPC branch of the APC pulling away, or breaking away, however you describe it, from the APC because of perceived marginalization. And of course, we're going to zoom out to consider a host of issues that have been shaping the polity over the past couple of days. And of course, this week, where the question has been on lopsidedness, whether it's a reality or just the figment of the imagination of those raising those concerns. We can now speak to Bala Ibrahim, joining us virtually. As always, a pleasure. We look forward to having you here in the studio, but I suppose this will do. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you again. I'd just like to get your Good. I'd just like to get your take on this one. Is APC a declining political power in Nigeria, considering the developments of the past few months?
Well, I don't know why the word declining is used. For a party that has 21 states out of 36, for a party that is daily receiving new entrants, the campees loading the party, for a party that is increasingly warming itself to the heart of the citizens, I cannot say how the influence or the power of the APC will be declining. I think the question to ask is the APC growing stronger and stronger at this time? Not declining, certainly.
Okay, so let's piggyback off of what happened in Kaduna, where a lot of Nigerians say the body language of the APC seems to show concern, seems to show some level of fear that this coalition conversation is actually becoming more of a reality than an imagination. The visit to former President Muhammadu Buhari by the likes of Atiku and co., that included the former immediate past governor of Kaduna State, the likes of Aminu Tambor, former governor of Imo State, and all these political associates. I mean, they say it has nothing to do with politics. But how concerned are you as an APC member that the rumored coalition is hobnobbing, or at least sharing the same space politically with someone in the stature of former President Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, I'm not the kind of person that likes talking on matters that are on the realms of speculation. I like talking about things that are concrete, confirmed, and substantially what one can contribute objectively into. But when a matter is being speculated, to join in the speculation is akin to giving it traction, and therefore you are also promoting speculation. For now, the APC is a progressive party that is in power. Former President Muhammadu Buhari is a card-carrying member of the APC. He had said so, and he made it clear that he has no intention to leave the party because it has done for him everything. Simply because some members of the opposition, and they said in their own words, visit, I don't see any discussion regarding the possibility of the coalition giving APC a stomach ache. Not at all. They visited Muhammadu Buhari, and Muhammadu Buhari has affirmed that carrying member of the party. If he had said he is willing around this time, then one can say yes, probably the meeting was constructed towards exiting the party. But that's not what happened.
Does he have to exit the party to support them? I mean, we see in the picture there the likes of Professor Isa Ali Pantami in the picture, and we also understand that some of his ministers, or at least the ministers that serve in his administration, are not particularly happy with the Tinubu administration. Ergo, the conversation about the CPC wing of the APC breaking away. Are those concerns genuine in your view?
Well, I think with the exception of Malam Nasru El-Rufai, the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, no member of the APC had come out to say he is not happy with the way and manner the government is being run. It was only Malam Nasru El-Rufai that made a statement, and in fact he said the party left him behind, so he has to exit. But all the people you mentioned, including the ministers of Muhammadu Buhari, none of them has come out to say he is dissatisfied with the performance of the government or the party. So anything that is said regarding that is speculation, which should not attract conversation for now.
What about Senator Ali Dume? Is he also on the outside? Because he made some strong allegations against the administration. He said some things about President Muhammadu Buhari's support or lack of support during the 2023 elections. He said a couple of things that I would love for us to get into. But the criticism as well as the dissent from within the APC is not just Malam Nasser El-Rufai. You also have a serving senator, a leading one for a leading political figure in the APC, also speaking out against the posturing of the administration.
Well, Senator Ali Dume is a card-carrying member of the APC. And when asked whether he's thinking of exiting, he said no. When asked whether he's going to visit Malam Muhammadu Buhari, the former president, he said he will do so very soon because his relationship with the former president is beyond politics. So, and what Ali Dume said regarding the running of the affairs of the country by President Bala Ahmed Tinubu is what I would call constructive criticism. Constructive in the sense that he is saying there are things that he feels are not being done according to the books, and the president needs to know and correct them in case the people caging him are not telling him the truth. He is not condemning the party, nor is he condemning the leadership style of the president. What he is saying is that let things be done by the book, and let us get these things done rightly and correctly, so that together we can continue to win the heart of the people.
Is that your way of sugarcoating what he said?
I'm not sugarcoating, I'm exactly saying what he said.
Well, there are spokespersons of the president who didn't take kindly to what he said, and they have some harsh words to describe his interview, obviously saying that he's disgruntled and so on and so forth. But let's talk about one particular issue that he highlighted there, one that has generated quite the national debate over the past couple of days, the argument or allegations of lopsidedness in terms of appointment. Much has been said about it. In fact, the APC has taken the flag for it. It said that President Muhammadu Buhari set the precedent for which the Tinubu administration is only living up to at this moment in time. What is the APC's position on this one? We've heard from the presidency, but the party has been quite mum about it. Is it the party's position that the president is fair in terms of his political appointments?
But the national chairman of the party, Dr. Abdullahi Ahmed, had addressed this issue when asked by the press. And he said very soon the party is coming out with a statement, with a position, and displaying the various appointments made by the government to show that equity, fairness has been used. You see, there is this issue of perspective. Everyone has a way of looking at things. The way I look at something may not necessarily be the way you look at it. Quite all right, there are certain positions that seem to be, for now, occupied by a certain tribal group in the country. But when you check, like the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said, all these positions have been checked, and before the appointments were made, consideration has been given to the provision of the Constitution. What the Constitution said should be done, and that is what has been done. But the party is coming out with a position very soon. The presidency had issued a statement which has been withdrawn and corrected. The party is going to bring out its position, and clarity will be made thereafter.
And talk to me about this coalition that continues to gain momentum, or at least the conversation around it. You see the body language of the likes of the former vice president and how he's galvanizing and probably coming up with a united front for members of the opposition. What is the APC's counter position on, say for instance, taking the wind out of the sail of the coalition that is rumored to take place? Or are you not simply worried about it?
You see, the former Vice President Atiku is not a new entrant in politics, nor is he a new contestant. He had contested against virtually all our presidential candidates, and the outcome has always been against him. We have gone to the polls with him, we have defeated him time without number. I don't see anything different now, simply because he is doing so at a later part of his life. And because there are speculations that things are not going down well with some people in the country or in the party, so his hobnobbing with some members of our party is a sign that there will be a coalition to contest against President Bala Ahmed Tinubu in the event that he decides to contest again come 2027. But that is nothing new. If he had at one time ever defeated the APC, then his coming again may inject fear into the party. But the party has always trashed him at the core. So what is new? What is there to give the party a sleepless night? There isn't anything like that.
Well, that may sound brave, but obviously he's a political threat, one of the biggest, if not the biggest political threat that the Tinubu administration has. Just to take you up on this particular point you just made right now, you say if the president chooses to stand for re-election, is it in doubt that President Tinubu is going to stand for re-election in 2027? I mean, we've been seeing the billboards across the Federal Capital Territory. Is that still a subject of discussion?
Well, democratically, the choice to contest lies with the person contesting. Until the person contesting says he's going to contest, no one can shave his head in his absence. For now, the presidency has issued a statement dissociating itself from the banners and posters that are being placed all over in some major cities, canvassing for support for the president come 2027. It's too early to talk. We have to get to the bridge before we think about crossing it. The president has a mandate up to 2027. He has just gone halfway into that mandate. To start engaging him into another mandate is uncharitable. He should be encouraged to fulfill the promises he made, to deliver on the mandate given to him, and see to it that he has done things democratically, provide all the things he promised, and give dividend of democracy to the country. That is what is right now in front of him, and that is what he is busy alongside his vice president Shettima Kashim doing. Let us get to 2027 when INEC will lift the ban on campaigns, and let's see whether President Bala Ahmed Tinubu has the interest to recontest. If he does, he has the right democratically. He has to be given the right of first refusal. He has the right to recontest. He can contest twice. If he does, and the party finds him worthy, which I think the party will, he will contest again.
Right. I mean, people, there are some watching the program right now saying, obvious. We know it's obvious, and it's even the blind can see that the president wants to contest in 2027. I mean, several of his close allies have alluded to that, the likes of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. And if you can just categorize some of the activities we've seen from the inner circles of the president, case in point, the activities of his son, Sheikh Tinubu, during the Ramadan season in the north, isn't that tantamount to campaign?
Well, for starters, the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, is not a card-carrying member of the APC. He cannot speak for the APC with regards the person the party is going to fill for its presidential slot. He cannot. He is a card-carrying member of the PDP. Now, Sheikh Tinubu is the son of the president. He has the right to canvass support for his father. But what he is doing now, I have not seen him anywhere where he said he's canvassing for his father against 2027. Rather, he is working, going around, consolidating on the gains of the government and doing things to ginger support more and make Nigerians appreciate the good work his father is doing, and there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you talk about Wike. I mean, it isn't obvious that he knows about what's to come in 2027, and these are the reasons why he is positioning himself to work for the president again. Are we really debating whether President Tinubu is going to contest in 2027?
I repeat, if anybody is going to contest, he will contest under the banner or platform of a political party. If Tinubu is going to contest, he will contest under the banner or platform of the APC. It is the APC members that will decide, the stakeholders will decide whether he is okay to be fielded as the candidate. And Wike is not among these stakeholders for now. Until he becomes a card-carrying member of the party, he cannot speak for the party regardless of what anyone will say about what he says because of his closeness or proximity to the president. It is only party members that can speak authoritatively on the situation of the party.
Okay, let's talk about something that has also become a bit of a sore point. This week, or this past week, should I say, the caucus, the Northeast caucus of legislators in the National Assembly, senators and House of Representative members spoke about the administration's negligence of the Northeast region, especially when it comes to that special processing zone. They say 6 of them have been established across the nation, and not a single one is in the Northeast, where we have not arguably one of the biggest markets for livestock and things like that. Which brings us back to the question about equity, fairness, and justice in terms of distribution or redistribution of resources. Don't you think that these are some of the things that could count against this administration in the next election?
Well, Ahmed, I have said so several times. I always want to confine myself to party matters. The issue at hand with regards what you've mentioned are things that have to do with the government, not the party. I am sure the party will address those issues as they affect it, but it is for the government to decide whether or not there is equity, there is fairness in the distribution of these commissions, or something has been done which has not been seen to be done. But as far as I am concerned, I will want to limit myself only to party issues, and anything the government is doing that probably is either in line or in conflict with the position of the party.
All right. Well, let's talk about the one particular issue that has been reverberating, especially much more pronounced during the APC administration's takeover of the affairs of the country. It has been an issue under Buhari. It's still an issue today under the Tinubu administration. And that's freedom of speech and some fundamental rights that may relatively be infringed upon by the administration. Talk to me about something that many Nigerians have been pointing to. The protests, we've seen them happen multiple times. Perhaps maybe the Tinubu administration has set a record for the most recorded number of protests in the first year in office. But talk to me about this one, where certain songs come into the public domain and we hear government agencies trying to shut it down because of how it portrays the administration in bad light. You say the APC is not a declining political force. You say that your popularity is not waning. Then why is there an active attempt to silence dissent or anything that looks like a criticism of this administration?
Well, Abdullahi, as journalists, we are trying to be objective, to be balanced, and to be fair in the discharge of our duties. It is not in the interest of our profession to insult or to publish insult. If anything is seen to be insultive or libelous, we are always discouraged from going to press with it. Talking about this song, there is a commission, the NBC, which is empowered to check the content of materials that are going to be put out for broadcast and make sure that they are not damaging, they are not destroying the integrity, reputation of anyone. If they feel there is any reason, they have a duty to put down that material, to restrict it from being published or being circulated. And I feel it is within that provision that the NBC said that song should not be in circulation or should not be broadcast, because I think they must have found out that it's libelous or is damaging to the integrity of someone. It is not because the government is trying to silence the opposition. There are so many songs that are criticizing, but they are constructively criticizing, not destructively criticizing. I believe for the NBC to ban that song or that music, there is a reason and they have a legal backing.
Well, the reason is to save face of the government, isn't it? I mean, I suppose people can come on a platform like this and criticize the Tinubu administration and say Nigerians are getting poorer, insecurity is undermining the growth of our domestic economy, the agriculture sector in the north has been inundated, lives have been lost. People have been saying this for the past 18 to 19 months so far, right? And it's obviously covered by free speech. But the moment it is covered in a song, it becomes something else. So people can say it, but people can't sing it. Is that what you're saying?
I feel you need to listen to that music. and give it a fair understanding in the context of our values and culture. When somebody calls out your father and say, tell your father, you see, it's gone personal. This is my own thinking. There is a difference between criticizing the president in his official capacity and criticizing my father in my capacity as his son and telling him to tell him that, look, I think you need to listen to that music and see whether it conforms with your own assessment in line with our values and culture in Africa and Nigeria.
I would say, Malam, that like over the past 3, 4, 5 decades, that is not the most critical song I've heard in the country, criticizing the government. I mean, military administrations had to put up with something like this for decades with the likes of Fela and co. But I get your point, it's not for everybody. Talk to me about the internal wranglings, the divergence that we're seeing. This past week, we heard from Governor Zulum in Borno State about the resurgence of the Boko Haram insurgency in the state that has inundated parts of the state where some communities are uninhabitable by residents and is also impeding on the government's ability to relocate some of these displaced persons back to their communities because he says we're losing ground to the insurgents. The counter argument from the DHQ is that we're still winning the battle or the war, whichever the case may be. But also, the Minister of Information chimed in to suggest that Zulum is misrepresenting the facts of the matter. And only 48 hours ago, we heard back from the governor of Borno State who says the minister is naive about the reality on the ground. As an APC man, as the director of publicity, talk to me about how the optics look, where you have a governor of a state on the platform of the APC and a minister of the federation arguing about the facts of insecurity. What does that say about the management of the whole situation?
I think the onus is on you and I, both as journalists and our colleagues, collectively or generally, to stick to the terms of our duty, the ethics of the profession, and make sure that whatever we do in our reportage, we put things in their proper context. The minister said he was quoted out of context. What was put out was not exactly what he said, and he made that very clear. Thereafter, the governor said, based on what he had before the clarification made by the minister, he said the minister was not living in tandem with reality. And since then, the minister had not replied. So I think the mischief, if I may use the word mischief, came from our colleagues who misquoted the minister, and the minister had registered his protest. He said he was quoted out of context.
So that's the end of the story, right? As far as you're concerned.
Until something new comes up, that story is dead, because the minister denied saying what he was said to have said. If he had insisted, then we can have a conversation. But he said he was quoted out of context by our colleagues.
Away from the commentary, though, I think the bigger conversation here is the fact that we are witnessing a resurgence, not just in Borno State. Take a look at what's happened over the past couple of days in Plateau State, in Kebbi State with the Lakurawa attacks, and of course in the Northwest generally speaking. And we're getting into the new farming season with the rainy season just commencing. Talk to me about how this is a headache, not for the APC politically speaking, but for the country that has recorded some considerable improvement in terms of security.
Well, you see, Abdullahi, security is everybody's business. It's not just for the security agents, it is for every one of us. And in a war, there are tactics that are changing every day. Sometimes you introduce changes thinking that you have made strong advancement, only for you to realize that there are areas that still need improvement. I am not a military strategist, but I know in the game of war, if I may call it, changes keep coming. Sometimes you make rapid progress, sometimes the progress is slow, and there are times when you may even have to step back, re-strategize, and come back with a stronger momentum. I am not saying yes, it's all Uhuru everywhere, but I can tell you from what we are seeing the military is doing, we are not heading to Waterloo. Nigeria is advancing, is winning. The insurgents are being weakened every day. It's just that we tend to overflow the negative side of the war and downplay the positive side of the war. The progress, the successes that are being recorded by the military on a daily basis don't get the kind of publicity from the press as when something negative once in a while happens. But looking at what is happening in the northeast and the northwest, alongside the commitment we are getting from the service chiefs, the national security advisor in particular, I think the war is being won, and very soon we are going to start clapping.
It's interesting that you blame the inadequacies or the gaps in terms of providing security to villages that remain volatile to attacks on media coverage. I suppose the media only reflects what's actually happening on the ground, regardless of who is in charge of running the commentary. But I digress. Let's go back to the issue at hand. The 2027 election has been the main talk within the political space for the past couple of months since the new year began, and it's some time away. But within the APC, we're hearing some rumblings like the North Central Renaissance movement suggesting that if the Tinubu administration or President Bala Ahmed Tinubu wants their support in 2027, he should reconsider his running mate and pick somebody from the North Central. We obviously know of the groups of the North Central in terms of the leadership of the party. They have for quite some time been pushing for a replacement for Professor Abdullahi Ahmed to be replaced by someone from the North Central, a position hitherto filled by the former governor of Nasarawa State. Is this something that is being discussed at the highest level?
You see, like I said earlier on, 2027 is 2 years away from now. And for everybody to be talking about candidates and their running mates at this material time when we are just halfway into the mandate of the government, I think the person or the people are being diversionary. The thing to do is to wait until the time that is supposed to be for deliberation or discussion on that matter come. Then you can table your request. Democracy permits people to dialogue, to engage in it's a game of numbers that give people the right to ask for something. When you ask for it and your demands are looked into democratically and you qualify to get that which you ask, politics permit that and you get it if you get the vote. But if you don't have the support, you don't have the vote, you can only make noise because democracy is for the majority. But that is not to say the minority cannot make noise. The people of the North Central have the right to ask for the position of the vice president. But it is for the party to weigh that request alongside other competing demands and see whether or not it's in the interest of that region and the interest of the party to give it to them. If the party feels, yes, they deserve it and they can have it and there is not going to be a problem, the party will give it to it. But for now, that position is in the northeast and is being occupied by Vice President Kashim Shettima. Anybody asking for that position to change is being mischievous and is going against the provision of the party constitution, and he is not going to be entertained for now.
So you're saying simply that this conversation is not even palatable for the APC in a democratic setting, that people can't even make demands?
No, I said they can make demand. That is democracy. But whether or not their demands will be made is another thing. If they make demand and they constitute the majority with that demand, they will have their way. But if they make demand and their demand is in the minority, they will only have their say. So the people of North Central can ask for it. They can even ask for the presidency if they so wish. Whether they will get is another thing.
It's safe to say that this would be quite unprecedented, isn't it? From the return of democracy in the Fourth Republic, we've not had a president running for a second term replace his running mate, for that matter. Then is it safe to say that this idea of theirs, this agenda of theirs, is dead on arrival? Or do you think something like this is even open for discussion?
You see, you don't say no in politics. You don't say no as long as the thing has not gotten to the terminus where it will be discussed. When we get to the position, we get to the terminal where that matter will be discussed. It will be discussed, and it's going to be discussed in a way and manner that is in tandem with the provisions of the constitution of the party. The party has rules and regulations through which contestants are picked, running mates are picked, and electoral processes are followed to victory. It is at that point that this matter will be discussed. But for now, because we have not gotten to that, you and I talking about it is nothing but speculation, which does not help in a democratic setting.
Okay. Speaking again of what is obviously inevitable in the public domain right now, you say 2027 is a year plus away, but it doesn't feel that way. You look at the activities on the other side of the aisle, the coalition talks, the merger talks, and all of the activities that has been happening over the past couple of months is suggestive that the opposition is trying to put its house in order. Talk to me about some of the movements within the APC itself to bolster its ranks. We saw the Progressive Governors Forum pay a visit to former President Muhammadu Buhari a while back, and you also expressed your own take about all of these conversations being speculative right now. I'm not asking for a game plan of the APC, but the wind seems to be shifting away from you towards SDP and some of the developments around the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. Is the APC in any way concerned about this momentum that is shifting to the other side?
Well, if we go kinetic, if we go according to the laws of physics, the strength of matter, we look at the weight, the volume, the capacity of a substance and see whether it is strong or weak with respect to other competing matters. The APC is a party that is in control of 21 states. I don't know how many states the SDP is in control. The last time I checked, it is not in control of even a local government. How can a party that is in control of 21 states be jittery of a party that has no single state? How can a party that has 21 governors be jittery of a party that has no governor? How can a party that has won an election be jittery of a party that has not come close to winning even a ward? I think we have to look at the strength of the party in question alongside the position of the party in power, and we will see that as far as strength is concerned, the SDP is not near the mate of the APC. Let's look at these things, please.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be somewhat of in denial on your part to say that all that momentum doesn't count for anything? I mean, if we do simple math, if an Atiku and Peter Obi come together, you do a simple math from what happened in 2023, they have the numbers. You talk about this being a numbers game. The majority will have their way and the minority will have their say at the end of the day, right? Speaking about numbers, they do have the numbers, so it surely has to concern you. Whether or not they have governors. I mean, Peter Obi went into 2023 without a single governor backing him. he ended up with one governor and a couple of lawmakers in the 10th Assembly. So, I mean, the numbers are there, and if history shows us anything, is that it's possible because you people did it back in 2015 against President Goodluck Jonathan.
Well, your submission has a denominator, which is if they come together, they have the numbers. But I want to take off that if and tell you that they cannot come together because they have conflicting interests. There is a marriage or a combination or a meeting of people of strange bedfellows, as they say. They are not going to come together. And even if they come together, the tactics that was used in beating them before will still be reviewed and they will be beaten again. Mark you, they are planning. We are also planning, and God has already planned. Our prayer is that Nigeria gets the best party that is going to look into the problems of the country and do for the country that which the country needs. And I pray that will reside with the APC. But the question of the APC entertaining fear because Atiku and Peter Obi's vote, when put together, will torpedo that of the APC. That is theory. It doesn't happen anywhere, and it will not happen in Nigeria.
But Bala, to be honest, it did happen before, hasn't it? In 2019, they had in 2019 they had the 12 million plus votes. It's not theory. They have done it before in 2019 against President Muhammadu Buhari, 12 million plus votes. So it's not a theory. It's something that has happened before. Which party voted against Buhari? On the platform of the PDP, and Atiku Abubakar as president, Peter Obi as running mate, had 12 million plus votes.
You are talking of personalities now. Peter Obi as a person, Atiku as a person. I thought you were talking about Peter Obi as a Labour Party and Atiku as a PDP. So the PDP and the Labour Party shrinking, teaming up to come up under the banner of one party. If you are talking about individuals teaming up, that is a different thing. But I am telling you, for the parties to collapse, remove their logo, change their identity, and present themselves as contestant against the party in power, it's not likely going to happen.
So I think we saw and witnessed the biggest coalition Nigeria has ever seen in history in 2013-2014 with the formation of the APC. It's surprising to me that you're saying that this is impossible when all of the people that we're talking about have at one point or another in time been on the same platform. But I digress. Let's talk about the state of the nation right now, the dissatisfaction, the disenchantment that people have with the performance of the APC. So many people have been writing you off. Granted that these are people on the other side of the political aisle, but there are some also within the party who are expressing concerns that if things don't change in a couple of months before the elections set in, that APC could lose and lose badly. Not just the presidency, but most of these other states. Because if you look at the indices within the economy, things are not looking up for the Nigerian public. What do you say to that concern? And do you think the president can turn things around before the elections come around?
Well, first, let me warn that the battery of my phone is going down, is threatening to shut down very soon.
Yeah, we have just 2 minutes to spare, so I hope we can stay on for that time.
How many minutes?
2 minutes. 2 minutes to spare.
Okay, I hope. Well, it's a China phone. Forgive my phone. It's a poor quality phone. But with regard to what is being done and the president's confidence and the party's confidence in winning the election, whatever the critics may say about happenings in the economy and the situation in the country, the president is aware, and he has said so time without number, that he put himself forward to contest, and he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's getting, and he knows the kind of reactions that he will get in the event that he introduced reforms. These reforms are working, they are beginning to yield results. Yes, there are pains, but these pains will soon give way, and Nigerians will begin to see the results of the reforms. And I assure you, before the election time, some of these reforms will yield the kind of results that will endear the party to the minds and hearts of the people, and that is what is going to be used to launch our campaign, and we are going to be at the victory side by the grace of God.
Right, let's save that battery of yours so we'll give you an opportunity to recharge it and of course end on a rather good note so that we do not have to deal with an eventuality of you losing power. Bala Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us on the program. We do appreciate the conversation and of course your analysis. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Politics.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure being here to Abdullahi.
Right. And of course, that is the size of our package for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Tomorrow, we'll be back at 8 p.m. live and exclusive on Trust TV with Daily Politics. We do hope you make time for tomorrow's edition, where we do hope to speak to a senator regarding some of those concerns about the SAPZ, those processing zones that have been established or will be established across Nigeria, with the exception of the Northeast, and what those concerns mean for the agribusiness sector in that region. What are some of those arguments? We hope you will join us for that conversation. Well, that's it for tonight's edition of this week's edition of Sunday Politics. Do well to stay in touch with us across our social media platforms. You can also watch a rerun of this on YouTube, and of course a lot more of our content across our website and our social media platforms. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, thank you for joining us tonight and good evening.